Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest interview as part of our ongoing series on Autosphere.ca. Today, we have with us Cody Green from Canada Drives. Cody, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, obviously, we wanted to just chat with you about Canada Drives and some of the things that you're doing in the industry, and there's been kind of a rapid expansion. So, starting off, tell us a little bit about how the concept of automotive retailing has shifted over the last decade, in terms of consumer needs and expectations, because I think that's been kind of a catalyst for Canada Drives, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the shopping behaviors of Canadians have shifted over time. I think this last year really has been an acceleration of those expectations. And so when we looked at the shopping habits, people were doing everything online. They were doing all their research, they were doing all their comparisons, and even the amount of dealerships they were visiting when they found a vehicle had just shrank over the years. So I think it used to be 3 or 4 dealerships. Now it's maybe 1.5. And so people were coming armed, knowing what they wanted to buy. And so really this last year, that leap to buying it online wasn't as big as maybe it would have been 3 or 4 or 5 years back.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And with that in mind, can you tell us a little bit about how the original concept of Canada Drives came about and what were some of the fundamental things that you wanted to address with this platform?
Yeah, so Canada Drives has been in the Canadian automotive industry for 11 years now. Our original service was allowing Canadians to get approved for auto financing online. How we did that is we partnered with dealerships and lenders across the country. And so a customer would come to us, they would apply for financing, we'd match them with a local dealership and a lending partner that'd be able to service them. So we've been in the automotive space for a long time, and we've really sort of had our ear to what the consumers were asking for. Our roadmap always contained going after the completely online car sales. This last year just really accelerated it. So it was a very intentional decision to move into it. And for us, it was really to take advantage of the opportunity to sell cars to both sort of prime and cash buyers that our service, that as it existed, weren't really servicing. What we heard from customers were a few things. So the fundamentals to make online car shopping work, you need to have a single best price strategy. So a customer needs to know that the price they're seeing on the website is the price they're going to buy a vehicle for. And that goes down to sort of every ancillary product you're going to be selling. So whether that's a warranty product, et cetera, financing, there's no negotiation. We're going to put our best foot forward first. And so that was one thing that we made sure when we launched it, that transparency element. The other thing is buying a car online is a leap for a lot of people. So what assurances do we have that the car we're getting is a car we want? But then what if we change our mind? And so what we did with that is we put the full inspection report online. We gave access to a vehicle history report for every one of our vehicles, all the details you'd need, over 30 high resolution photos. So a customer would be able to see, hey, what's great about this vehicle? And then also, what are those blemishes that I'm going to see when it's dropped off? And am I okay with it? Because not every vehicle is going to be reconditioned to a brand new state, really just depending on the year of it. So those were 2 main things. And then really just paired with that, okay, what if I change my mind? And so for us, we have a 7-day love it or return it policy. If a customer doesn't like their car for any reason, we're going to come pick it up. And that can be something as simple as, hey, I thought it was a different shade of blue. I thought the car seats would fit a little bit different. And we see customers taking advantage of that.
Okay, great. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about the COVID pandemic, and obviously it's kind of shifted consumer attention more towards this online model, if you like. But is there anything else that you'd like to mention in how what's happened during the COVID period will kind of influence automotive retailing as we continue to move forward and out of the pandemic and into the new normal, as it were?
Yeah, I think the expectations of consumers are going to continue to shift, and there's going to be that pressure on sort of all retailers. People were buying everything else online, and a bunch of people who maybe hadn't even made that push into online purchasing did. And so some generations where maybe it had sort of passed by and they were content with the way that they were shopping in the past were kind of pushed back into it. And so adding those extra features, those extra services that those customers are asking for, I think is important. And the delivery was one of those things. Is a lot of customers don't want to come into a dealership to buy a vehicle. And so giving them an option to have their vehicle delivered, I think is important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it is. And, you already talked a little bit about sort of Canada Drives and how it works, but anything else you'd like to mention regarding the process itself?
Yeah, I think when designing Canada Drives, we had to be very thoughtful and sort of from the beginning of the first click from the customer to when the vehicle is dropped off, every step is very intentional. So for a consumer, it's a pretty seamless experience. You're going to go on the website, not unlike you'd be going on dealership websites in the past. You're going to get all that information you need to make a decision. From there, you're going to be doing everything online. So you're going to be reviewing your finance documents. If you decide to pay for the vehicle cash, you can do that on your credit card. You're going to be signing those online, and then you're going to be booking your delivery appointment. From a consumer's perspective, it's been extremely well received, and really excited about the growth we've seen.
Fantastic. Great stuff to hear. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about this best price first pricing strategy, because it's a very significant thing for the industry overall, isn't it? Where we're used to people haggling over the price of a vehicle pretty much.
Yeah, it was really non-optional to benefit from the scale of selling online. There really can't be a back and forth negotiation on the price of vehicles. And it really is an education process for consumers, because that's not what they're used to. They'll see a price on the website. They may have some expectations that there may be some fees when they get down to the dealership, but there's also an expectation of, okay, well, it says 18,000. What can I really get this vehicle for? And that sort of flows through from everything from the vehicle they're buying to the vehicle they're trading in. Clearly, if you're buying a car online, that negotiation can't be happening. And so it's really up to us to put our best foot forward. Hey, this is a price that we stand behind. We think it's an excellent price, and that's what you're going to be paying for the vehicle. But also on the trade-in as well, this is the price that we think is fair for your trade-in vehicle. Because we can do that automatically, it allows the consumer to buy a car without ever needing to talk to a salesperson. That support's there, and it's important for a lot of people to be able to call in, ask questions, but enabling someone to do the whole process without that intervention really relies on that best price first strategy.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a very good point there. Obviously, one of the biggest questions, certainly this year right now, is inventory. So I just wanted to get from you, I mean, how do you guys source inventory, especially in a climate like we're seeing today?
Yeah, so we're going to go a lot of the traditional channels that dealerships have in the past. Obviously, the auctions are a big source of vehicles. The other thing we do as well is we have those relationships with our dealerships across Canada from our previous business, and that business still is extremely important to us. And what's nice is we partner with them on the finance business, but they're also a source for vehicles. And a good example of that would be if you're a BMW dealership and you get a Toyota Camry in on trade, that may not fit the SKUs that you want at your dealership. We're a great outlet for that car. And it goes both ways with those dealerships. And so pretend you're a Mazda store and you just sold your last used Mazda 3, but you see Canada Drives has 10 of them. It's like, you can buy a vehicle from us. We can have it dropped off for you and supplement your existing inventory. And so the sort of moving into the online car sales has been a benefit for our existing relationships as well. Kind of back to the original question, another big channel for us and a big priority for us this year is buying more cars from consumers. So our mission is to be the easiest place to buy and sell your car in Canada. And so right now we think we're really delivering on the buying part of that, but we're also starting to procure more and more vehicles directly from consumers. And some of those same challenges that are being solved for the buying of a car are sort of present for people wanting to sell a vehicle. It's like, hey, I don't want to put it on Craigslist. I don't want to negotiate the price of my trade-in. If you give me a fair price for my car, I'm more than willing to sell it to you. And it's our process in reverse. So we'll just come to the customer's house, we'll pick up their vehicle, they're going to get that money, and that's going to be done for them. Well,
that's great. And I think it just takes a lot of the hassle out of the trading process for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So, great. So Cody, as well, now the platform's been launched and kind of based on your foundation, how you built things up over the last decade or so, what's been the consumer and industry feedback? We're very interested to see, because this is kind of a game changer in many ways for the automotive retail sector, right?
Yeah, it's been extremely well received, and that's why we've been pretty aggressive in our growth strategy. So we did a soft launch in October. and have just been ramping up the amount of inventory and sort of the marketing to support that in BC. We just launched in Ontario in May, but the plan is to service 80% of Canadians by the end of this year. And it's really going to be just getting all that logistics nailed down, getting the right inventory at the right price, and sort of opening up those new markets.
Okay, great stuff. Anything else you'd like to mention regarding some of the objectives and plans moving forward?
I think nothing specifically. I think it's an exciting time to be a retailer of vehicles in Canada. I see a lot of dealerships making strides in sort of their processes and systems. And I think a lot of the things that we've had to do to adjust this past year are going to stick. And as I said, consumers' demands of retailers are going to continue to rise, as they have for sort of all retailers across all segments. So I think it's a really exciting time to be selling vehicles in Canada as well as buying vehicles in Canada.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Cody, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.